The mafia's story doesn't start in America. It begins in Sicily, a land shaped by centuries of foreign rule and lawlessness. With no reliable government, Sicilians learned to trust only themselves. The authorities served the rich, leaving ordinary people vulnerable. So, locals formed their own groups for protection, men of respect, or if you were wronged, you went to the local strongman, not the police. In return for protection, you owed loyalty and favors. This was a practical solution in a world where the state failed. The word mafia likely comes from an old word meaning to protect. These groups weren't a single organization, but local networks controlling their own territories. They became the unofficial government, providing order where chaos reigned. This system, built on loyalty and self-reliance, was the seed of the modern mafia. It was about survival, not just crime. From these roots, the mafia would grow into something far more powerful. The mafia's foundation was a code of silence. You never spoke to the police. Betrayal meant exile or death. This secrecy made the mafia impenetrable and powerful. Everything changed in 1861 when Italy unified and tried to impose its rule on Sicily. The new government was weak and clueless about local customs. Officials needed local allies, so they turned to the very groups they were supposed to eliminate. The mafia struck deals with politicians and police, trading votes and order for protection from prosecution. Suddenly, the mafia gained legitimacy and political power. They were no longer just local enforcers, they were partners of the state. This alliance blurred the line between law and crime. The code of silence and new political connections made the mafia stronger than ever. The state's attempt to control Sicily only deepened the mafia's grip. The result, a corrupt partnership that would haunt Italy for generations. The mafia's new power corrupted its original purpose. Protection turned into extortion, the infamous pay up or face threats, arson or worse. The mafia took over Sicily's economy, citrus groves, mines, jobs and contracts. They became a shadow government, draining wealth and enforcing their will through fear. Anyone who resisted, journalists, police, politicians, risked death. The mafia became a secret brotherhood, closed to outsiders, bound by blood and silence. Once seen as honorable, they were now oppressors. Their rule was harsher than any foreign conquerors. The protectors had become predators. Sicily was under the grip of its own creation. In the late 1800s, waves of Sicilians fled poverty for America. Among them were mafiosi ready to exploit new opportunities. In cities like New York and Chicago, immigrants distrusted police and felt isolated. The mafia filled the power vacuum, offering protection and settling disputes. They ran extortion rackets known as the Black Hand, targeting fellow Italians, pay or face violence, just like in Sicily. American authorities ignored these neighborhoods, letting the mafia grow. Small gangs organized into families, mirroring their Sicilian roots. They expanded from extortion to gambling, loan sharking, and labor rackets. The American mafia was born, adapting old-world methods to a new land. Soon they would find the perfect storm to become a national empire. Prohibition in 1920 changed everything. The mafia seized control of the illegal alcohol trade, making fortunes bootlegging. They bribed officials, armed their men, and expanded nationwide. Profits fueled violent turf wars, culminating in the Castellamarese War. Out of the chaos, Lucky Luciano reorganized the mafia, creating the Commission, a board of bosses. New York's 5 families emerged as the power center. The mafia became a sophisticated criminal corporation. What began as protection in Sicily had become a national empire of crime. The story of the mafia is a warning. When justice fails, shadow powers rise. The mafia's roots are in fear and silence, but understanding them is the first step to fighting back. Only a just society can keep the shadows at bay.